True Story Media.
This podcast contains adult themes and language, and some of the things that we discuss may be disturbing to some listeners. In this podcast, we discuss sexual assault, torture, race, and murder. Listener discretion is advised. Please take care of yourself.
Welcome to Fruitloops, Buiti Binafi, and Bienvenidos Bitches. Thank you so much for listening. Fruitloops is a true crime, history, and comedy podcast that delves into the often overlooked stories of serial killers of color and, more importantly, the victims. We take deep dives into the lives and crimes of these killers worldwide, while also examining the history, culture, and social factors that may have influenced their actions. And the reason that we cover these crimes is because they often go unnoticed by the public. And why is that? Because in the simplest of terms, the news is racist. Allegedly.
And we are Wendy and Beth. She's Wendy, a Black Latinx woman, and I'm Beth, and I just happen to be white. That's just a little piece of who we are. Another piece is that although we are both fascinated by true crime, really fascinated by true crime, and we know a lot about it, keep in mind that we are not journalists, investigators, or psychologists, and the opinions expressed in this podcast are just that, our opinions.
All right. Well, who are we talking about today, friend?
Today we're talking about, and please excuse my pronunciation. I do not speak Spanish, so my pronunciation will be off, but here we go.
All right.
Our subject today is Rodolfo Infante Jiménez and Ana María Ruíz Villeda. They were a notorious 1991 Mexican serial killer duo known in Mexico as Los Sadists de Matamoros, or in English, the Sadists of Matamoros. Their brutal crimes shocked Mexico and became one of the country's first widely reported accounts of a serial murder couple. And this is episode 270, The Sadists of Matamoros.
Notorious. But before we get into it, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Things are actually looking up for me right now. It's not as much stress at work. My grandson is doing basketball, and
nice.
That's been a lot of fun. He's like just determined because he just loves basketball, but he really doesn't like the closeness. Like, he's not real aggressive as far as, some of those players are pretty aggressive. And so he's pushing through. And so I'm proud of him.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Beth, I'm like that. My heart is singing. I'm so happy that things are looking up, and especially that your grandson is into something and passionate about it and having fun, right? That's what it's all about. Yeah. I love that. Oh,
how are you doing?
I'm hanging in there, actually. I am looking forward to warmer weather and CrimeCon, of course. Woo-hoo. And also looking forward to our video club this month. I forgot what the documentary was called, but it was a 3-part series.
Lost Women of Alaska, I think it's called.
Yes. And I thought it was a fantastic documentary series. And I really can't wait to talk to the Fruities about it. So all is well. And
great.
Lots to look forward to.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we get into our episode, just want to remind the listeners that this is a podcast that covers true crime involving people of color and minoritized people. And that means we talk about real human beings' lives, real systems that affect people, and real shit. Sometimes things can be heavy. Sometimes we have to laugh to keep from crying. And sometimes it's both those things at once. Race and crime are challenging topics, but we believe they're part of the world that we live in, and we believe in facing them with honesty, curiosity, and care. This is a space where we can learn and unlearn together, and we know we're not always going to get it perfect, but we own our mistakes, we grow from them, and we keep it moving on our collective quest to be our best sexy selves. Amen?
Yeah. And we welcome our listeners to be a part of the conversation on Facebook or Blue Sky or what's that? Instagram. Like, what's that? Instagram.
Instagram.
At Fruitloops Pod, or email us at fruitloopspod@gmail.com.
Okay, so let's take a quick break and then we'll get into the story when we come back. And we're back. Remind us, Beth, who is our subject today?
Our subject today is Rodolfo Infante Jiménez and Ana María Ruíz Villeda, and they are linked to at least 8 femicides in the early 1990s, earning them the notorious nickname the Sadists of Matamoros. Their story is a chilling contradiction. They appeared as a loving couple in public, while privately they were bound by sadistic impulses that brought terror to the border city of Matamoros, Tamaulipas.
All right, now we are going to move to the love and light portion of our show where we say rest in power to the victims whose lives were cut short and love and light to their loved ones and community left in the wake of this crime.
Yeah.
The victims were all girls and young women, some as young as 13. Different articles mention different names and ages, and the victims' names most mentioned, they are Enriqueta Vega Rocha, Marina Hernandez Lopez, Isabel Ventura, Guillermina Sánchez Galacia, Cecilia Obispo, Orfelinda Juárez Castillo, Rita Hernández, Flora Adrián Martínez, and some other names that were mentioned include Elizabeth Peña, Alma Delia Flores, Claudia Yvette González, Mayra Elizabeth Flores, and Norma Patricia Lopez. And we have a survivor in the story, and that woman's name is Alma Lilia Rostro. So let's get into the setting and the early life of these people.
Yeah. These assholes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the setting is the Mexican city of Matamoros, which sits along the Rio Grande, directly across from Brownsville, Texas, forming one of the many interconnected communities often referred to as twin cities that define the U.S.-Mexico border. Another example of a twin city would be San Diego and Tijuana. They're just, border cities right across from each other.
Yeah. And I don't know how it is anymore, but you used to be able to just go back and forth pretty easily.
Right. Yeah.
Even in some border towns, like somebody may live in one of the towns, but work or go to school in the other town.
Yep.
It wasn't uncommon, but things are very different in 2026.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's like now.
Yeah. So despite being separated by an international border, these cities are deeply linked through shared economies, family ties, and daily cross-border movement, creating a distinct regional identity shaped by both nations. That's beautiful.
It is. Matamoros, formerly known as Heroica Matamoros, earned the title Heroica for its role in Mexico's fight for sovereignty, a distinction given to only a few cities that endured major conflicts during the struggle for independence.
But long before these international borders existed, the region was home to Estoc Gana, or Carrizo Come Crudo people, whose descendants still live in the area today. Interesting.
Europeans arrived in 1519. By 1749, the Spanish had established a settlement called San Juan de los Esteros as part of their effort to secure territory along the Rio Grande, which is called Rio Bravo in Mexico. After Mexico gained independence, the town was renamed Matamoros in honor of Mariano Matamoros, a priest and revolutionary leader. Matamoros literally translates to Moor Killer or Killer of the Moors. Did not know that.
Yeah, and I looked into it briefly. It sounds like there's some colonial history behind the origin of that surname.
So, yeah, if this guy is Spanish, he came from Spain. The Moors were in Spain, right? So
Yeah,
that
and
makes sense.
they ruled. My understanding is they governed or ruled part of Europe for a time, and then they were killed.
Yeah, so this guy killed them all.
Yeah, it's something like that.
That's what happened.
So over the centuries, Matamoros became a strategic and contested space, playing roles in the Mexican War of Independence, the Mexican-American War, and the Mexican Revolution. Its location made it both a gateway and a battleground, shaping a city identity rooted in resilience and survival.
By the late 20th century, Matamoros had transformed again, this time into an industrial hub. The rise of maquiladoras, factories producing goods for export to the United States, brought rapid economic growth.
But with that growth came problems. The city expanded quickly, drawing migrants from rural Mexico seeking work or hoping to cross into the United States. This created a large population of young, often isolated girls and women, many far from home, with little financial security and few support systems.
By the early 1990s, Matamoros was a city in transition, economically active, culturally blended, and deeply connected to the United States. But beneath that movement and opportunity was instability. Many newcomers lived in poverty, far from family, relying on informal job networks to survive.
Young women and girls in particular were vulnerable. Domestic work was common, often arranged through word of mouth. Each morning, women and girls gathered at bus stops and public spaces, hoping to be hired for cleaning, childcare, or farm labor.
Others dreamed of crossing into the United States, seeing Matamoros as a stepping stone to a better life. This environment, marked by hope, desperation, and limited oversight, created conditions where exploitation could thrive.
Ana María Ruíz Villeda was born in 1971 in San Luis Potosí, a city in central Mexico, and her early life reflects the reality faced by many girls in economically strained regions. Around the age of 13, she was sent to Matamoros to work. So no more school, just off to work.
Just off to work. And this was a common practice for Mexican families living in abject poverty with limited economic opportunities. Once they became teenagers, the children were sent away to find work so that they could send money home to support the rest of the family.
Illiterate and largely on her own, Ana found employment as a domestic worker, sometimes traveling into Texas for work. Reportedly, she had a child as a teenager who was sent back home to her mother to raise.
Her life was shaped by instability, survival, and the constant search for opportunity. Her story was not unusual. In fact, it mirrored the experiences of many Mexican girls drawn to border cities, the very same kind of girls who would later become victims of los Sadists de Matamoros.
Rodolfo Infante Jiménez was born in 1963 in San Benito, Texas, just miles from the border. Unlike Ana, little is known about his early life, but his documented history begins with violence.
In 1990, he was indicted in Kingsville, Texas, for aggravated robbery after he allegedly threatened a female convenience store clerk with a knife. The encounter escalated into a terrifying act of intimidation and control when he demanded that she remove her clothes.
When she refused, he held the knife to her throat and forced her to open the cash register. After evading capture for months, he was arrested in 1991, but quickly posted bond and fled.
Before his arrest, Infante had worked as a bartender in Harlingen, Texas. It was there that he'd met Ana Ruíz when she came in to inquire about a job as a waitress. She was still a teenager. He was in his 20s. Despite a 9-year age gap, they quickly formed a relationship and moved in together.
When Infante skipped his court date, the couple fled across the border to Mexico and settled in Ejido El Ebanito, a small rural farming community about 20 miles outside Matamoros. With a population of only a few hundred people, it was isolated and far removed from the visibility of the city. So now let's get into the timeline. Hit it, Beth.
It was here that their lives and the broader story of Matamoros intersected tragically. The same forces that shaped the city, migration, poverty, and the promise of opportunity, also created a steady flow of vulnerable individuals.
Young women and girls continued arriving in search of work, often relying on strangers in informal arrangements. Infante and Ruíz exploited this. They targeted women who were alone, in need, and hopeful.
Job offers, cleaning, farm work, or assistance crossing the border were used as bait. In a city where such offers were common and desperation was real, perhaps the victims did not consider the danger.
They were just so hopeful. Yeah. Accounts of the crimes vary widely, with conflicting statements from both the media and the perpetrators, which made this case especially difficult to research. We've done our best to present the most accurate details possible, but please let us know if you have any corrections or additional information.
Yeah, there really wasn't a lot out there.
Yeah, I listened to 3 or 4 different podcasts, and they different names.
They were all in Spanish, right?
They were all in Spanish.
Yeah, because I couldn't find an English one.
Yeah. But yeah, there was varying accounts, I guess.
Yeah, I just had to sort through the information. That's why at the beginning of the episode, we had the list of names, the ones that were mentioned multiple times. There was 8 of them, and I think those are probably the ones that they were charged with, and then the other ones were just names that I had found in different articles. So I don't know how accurate those ones are, but I wanted to present them anyway.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hopefully Fruities do too.
Yeah, hopefully. So like many serial killer couples, their relationship appeared to have reinforced the violence, with each encouraging the other. Their assaults reportedly combined sexual violence with murder. Their method was as simple as it was cruel. They preyed on the hope for a better life, luring victims, some reportedly as young as 13, with promises of money and employment.
The couple lured their victims from downtown Matamoros with job offers at El Ebanito. They were used to earning just a little over $20 a week. Infante and Ruíz offered over $50. Some of the girls were also enticed with offers of assistance with learning English and with obtaining a U.S. work visa. Wow, what a scam.
Yeah. I mean, that would be hard to resist.
Yeah.
If you're used to only making $20 a week or so.
Oh, yeah.
$50? I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Plus, I get all these other benefits.
Other things,
learning
yeah.
English and a visa to work in the U.S.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Stassi Schroeder. Welcome to Tell Me Lies, the official podcast. What's the most unhinged thing of season 3?
Steven, because he's so evil.
I do think he is misunderstood.
You see everyone face consequences. It's intoxicating.
The writers just know how to trick you.
There's always a twist in this show. It's nothing you would expect.
Tell Me Lies, the official podcast, now streaming, and stream the new season of Tell Me Lies on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
So after gaining their trust, promising money and jobs, and bringing them to their home, Infante and Ruíz transformed from a loving couple into a ruthless duo. They tortured, raped, and murdered their victims.
The pair would keep the victims prisoner in their home for days, where they raped and abused them repeatedly during captivity. After the assaults, they strangled or drowned the victims. The couple also stole their money and belongings and then dumped the bodies in the Rio Grande or irrigation canals near the border.
The bodies, when found, were in a state of decomposition. The autopsies were performed at a funeral home, not a medical examiner's office, so not as professional. And the cause of death was usually determined to be drowning. So it was assumed that the girls had drowned trying to get to the United States. So
Wow.
it took a while for them to figure out what was going on.
Yeah. Because after a while, wouldn't you be like, all the girls who go over there to
drowning.
work,
Yeah.
they don't really seem to come out.
Yeah.
This case sometimes gets confused or conflated with the narco-satanistas, or the narco-satanists, who are also active in Matamoros shortly before Los Sádicos de Matamoros. The Narco-Satanistas were a cult led by Rodolfo Constanzo, active from 1986 to 1989, and the group conducted abductions, ritual gruesome murders, ritual mutilation, torture, and human sacrifice. Same area, different decade, different MOs, and different victims and perpetrators. But similar.
And we have an episode about them as well.
I knew it. I knew it. Because at first I was like, didn't we cover this already? Yeah. And then I was like, wait a minute. Do we know what episode it is?
Adolfo de Jesus Constanzo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Episode 64.
Yes. 64. Perimenopause has my memory in a chokehold. But this episode is about a different case. Listen to both.
Different. Yeah. Actually, that was a couple as well. That's crazy.
It is. Oh, dang. Wow.
Oh, shoot. Dang.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember. We've covered so many stories that I'm starting to get them mixed up. Just now starting to get them mixed up.
Beth was never like this before.
Yeah, it's the podcast's fault. Let's see. Now I'm curious. Yeah, Sarah Aldrete. They called her the godmother. La Madrina.
I feel like, yeah,
it's coming back now.
It's coming back to me. Yeah.
So that was a crazy story. You guys got to listen to that one.
Yes.
If you haven't heard it yet.
Please do. And let us know what you think.
64.
Yeah, let us know what similarities and glaring differences about the case do you see?
Yeah.
Also, it was 200 episodes ago that we covered it, right?
Yeah. So it's been a minute.
Yeah. And we're also different. The way we tell stories is a little bit different too. So yeah, but check that out. Now back to the story.
Yeah, back to the story. So the first body was found in August of 1991 near El Abenito on the bank of the Rio Grande. 3 days later, a second body was found in the Rio Grande. A third body was found in September.
Now, we don't have many details about the individual murders, except for one, the killing of Guillermina Sanchez. Infante and Ruíz met Guillermina during a trip to San Luis Potosí, where Ruíz had grown up and was visiting family. Guillermina was a young woman hoping to cross into the United States for work so she could send money home to support her mother.
In September, she left San Luis Potosí and traveled to Matamoros in search of work. While there, she stayed with Infante and Ruíz. According to Infante, he had an affair with her, and they had sex in front of Ruíz. But knowing their story, it was probably rape, not consensual sex.
After a few days, Infante and Ruíz took Guillermina to the Rio Grande under the pretense of helping her cross to the other side. But they took advantage of the isolation of the rural area to strip her naked, steal her money, and drown her. So now let's get into the investigation and the arrest. What, Beth?
Beginning in the late summer of 1991, authorities began discovering the bodies of young women and girls in the Rio Grande and nearby irrigation canals, many of whom had no obvious signs of physical injury.
8 victims were found in October alone. While similar cases had occurred earlier, it wasn't until that month that officials began to take notice, as reports of missing women increased and patterns in the killings began to emerge.
Yeah, 8 women found in canals and the river. That's crazy.
Definitely.
In 1 month.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2 first-person accounts offer chilling insight into encounters with the couple. The first comes from 15-year-old Josefina Torres, who traveled to El Abenito with her friend, 14-year-old Marina Hernandez Lopez, after they were offered work on the farm.
Once they arrived, Marina left with Infante and Ruíz, leaving Josefina alone. Uneasy, Josefina chose to leave and return to Matamoros. She never saw Marina again. Later, after reading reports about bodies being discovered, one described as wearing clothing matching Marina's, she reported her friend missing.
The second account ultimately brought the murders to an end. The couple lured 2 cousins, Enriqueta Vega Rocha and 17-year-old Alma Lilia Rostro, to El Abenito with promises of work. Like many others, the cousins had been going door to door in Matamoros searching for jobs.
Enriqueta left first, and 5 days later, the couple returned to pick up Alma Lilia, bringing her to their shack. When Alma Lilia asked about her cousin, she was told Enriqueta was working far away and that they didn't have the money for transportation to visit her. Alma accepted the explanation and stayed with them for the next 10 days.
Still, certain things unsettled her. She was locked inside whenever they left. And at one point, Ana playfully wrapped a sheet around her neck and tightened it. Alma dismissed it as just their sense of humor.
Oh, my jaw's on the floor.
Yeah. No, thank
That's
you.
not humorous.
It's not funny.
But her unease grew when she discovered a pair of worn black leather shoes in an outdoor washroom. She recognized them as belonging to Orfelinda Juárez Castillo, a maid the couple had taken to El Ebanito for work. Knowing how little maids earned around $23 a week, Alma Lilia realized that Orfelinda would not have abandoned her perfectly functional shoes.
So, on the morning of October 16th, when Alma Lilia found the door unlocked, she seized the opportunity to escape. She ran down the road to find help and quickly reported everything to the Matamoros police.
Through tears, she recounted her experience and what she had discovered, telling investigators she believed the couple was responsible for the murders of the women recently reported in the newspapers. Having recently spoke to Josefina Torres about her experience with the couple, authorities tended to agree.
So plainclothes officers went to the farm where Infante and Ruíz lived and staged a setup, parking a truck on the access road outside their home with the hood raised to appear that the truck was broken down. When the couple came out to investigate, officers asked for their help to lure them closer, then moved in and arrested them.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that.
Very clever.
I love that. Clever girl. So the pair initially confessed to 8 murders, and investigators said they took them to 3 bodies and other locations where bodies had been found. Later, the couple started blaming each other for the crimes. Infante did eventually confess to committing 3 of the murders, but claimed Ruíz killed the other 5. Wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't me. He claimed that Ruíz had been the mastermind and ultimately responsible for the murders. One quote was something like, it's her fault because she lured them there. You know,
What?
she brought them to me, so it's her fault.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, what did he blame the victims for being there?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they shouldn't have been there. Yeah. What were they doing there?
Come on, man. Yeah.
For her part, Ruíz denied all responsibility, depicting herself as the passive victim of an abusive boyfriend. However, you might recall how Alma Lilia had described to police how Ruíz had wrapped a sheet around her neck and started choking her with it. So there's that.
Yeah, there's that. So Ruíz claimed that Infante tied her up at night and often threatened to kill her 2-year-old daughter. Infante said that Ruíz took the money from the victims to send to her daughter.
Yeah, because if you recall, her daughter was sent back home to her mom. So she was sending money to her mom to take care of her daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The pair was also questioned about a similar murder perpetrated in Monterrey, about 200 miles away from Matamoros. And that's Monterrey, Mexico, not California.
Thank you.
That girl had also been raped and drowned and had last been seen in the company of a couple. But Infante and Ruíz denied having gone to Monterrey or murdering the girl, and I don't think anything came of that.
The crime shocked the region because of the sexual sadism and the fact that the killers were a romantic couple working together. Investigators suggested that the killings were primarily driven by sexual sadism and that the murders gave them sexual gratification. And I just have a teensy culture corner about sadism.
Okay.
Specifically the S in BDSM.
Okay.
And ever since I watched that show, Dying for Sex on Hulu, I understand that Sadism, when it is between consenting adults who agree to explore sort of like controlled pain and an exchange of power or intense sensations, it isn't harmful. It cannot be harmful. You could do it without harming somebody. And it can be practiced safely.
If it's consensual,
exactly. And it's more about trust and like this dance between control and surrender, which can garner like this intense emotional release. Consensual sadism is not cruel. It's more about creating this intense experience for somebody who wants it, all while caring for them through the entire journey. All that to say, that's not what these people did. But I do. There's another
to explain
aspect of the spectrum
right.
that I had thoughts about and wanted to look into more. So there you go.
Yeah. As long as it's consensual, it's, whatever you want to do.
Hey, man, we're not here to kink shame.
No.
But we are here to do? Get into the trial. So tell us about it, Beth.
Not a whole lot to tell. Both were charged with multiple counts of murder and related offenses under Mexican law. While in custody, though, I thought this was interesting. They reportedly received death threats, and they were targeted by other inmates. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting. In 1992, they were convicted of 8 murders. Each received 40 years in prison, which was the maximum sentence allowed in the state of Tamaulipas at the time. Infante was 29 years old and Ruíz was 20. If the math is mathing, both should be released in 2032. And Infante would be 69 and Ruíz would be 60. So where are they now? Tell us, Beth.
Well, we don't know.
Okay. Okay, great. Mm-hmm.
We don't know if they're deceased or if they're still incarcerated. And if so, where? We don't know. I couldn't find any news articles after 1992.
Interesante.
I mean, there were blogs and stuff like that, but no actual news articles.
Okay. So reportedly, the case is still studied in criminology, especially in relation to serial killers in Mexico. It's been featured in documentaries and true crime databases as an example of a male-female killing partnership. However, there don't seem to be many details available.
Yeah, or there's conflicting details. So very frustrating.
Certainly. And golly gee whiz, if we've got any criminologists or people studying criminology in Mexico who know more about this case, because it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Get
let
at
us know.
But that's it for the story. So now we're going to get into our thoughts and our spicy hot takes. What do you think, Beth?
So Ruíz was in the very same situation that many of the girls they murdered were in. And I wonder if something happened to her during that time.
Yeah.
She had a daughter when she was around 16 or so. I wonder if the daughter was a product of rape. Just speculating. I have no idea.
Sure. Yeah.
But I wonder if some bad things happened to her. Yeah. And she took it out on those girls.
Ooh.
Or if she could have been a more passive partner, which is actually common for these duos. And maybe Infante was the instigator. And I tend to think he was the instigator, not only because the men usually are the instigators, but also their age difference.
Right.
They met when she was like 19 and he was 28. He was quite a bit older than her. So there was a power imbalance there.
Yeah.
But I don't really know.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that I agree. Something must have happened to her. And it also seemed to me she wanted somebody to love her.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been said that crack is a hell of a drug, but so is lack. And Anna lacked love.
Yeah. And love is a hell of a drug as well.
Oh my God. Isn't it though? She just wanted to be loved. And I think she believed she could get that through Jiménez.
Yeah.
No matter what it took.
Right.
And
whatever she had to do.
Yeah. And we've talked about these murderous partnerships.
Yeah.
I can see how love, while beautiful and part of the human condition, can also be distorted. And the evil and the cruelty may become part of their love language, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Part of their sick, twisted love language.
Yeah. She loves him, but he seems to need this other thing.
Yeah.
And so if she can get him that other thing, he will continue to love her.
Right.
And no matter what cost or whoever else is harmed.
Yeah.
And the victims were also lacking, right? They needed work to survive and support themselves and their families. And I can't put my finger on what Jiménez lacked, perhaps power or a sense of power or importance.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was just plain evil and he enjoyed manipulating Anna and puppet mastering all this harm and suffering and pain.
Right. Yeah, I also wondered why he was the way he was, but I couldn't find anything about him.
Like
so.
the whole, I often have this thought when we talk about these cases, like, is this necessary?
Yeah.
Do you need to do this to people?
The thought I often have is, the fuck is wrong with you?
That is perfect. Yeah. Also a common thread in my brain. And the couple had a type. All of the girls described in the physical descriptions I heard in those podcasts, young, slim, long, dark-haired, vulnerable girls.
Yeah, I think that dark eyes as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I wonder what that says about Rodolfo, Jiménez, and Ana Villeda. It's horrible that all the victims were vulnerable and just trying to survive. And we're hopeful. That's the other fucked up thing.
Yeah, that's really sad.
They took advantage of their hope.
Yeah.
Like, that's so awful. Hoping for something better, and that was preyed upon.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that this case is studied. I heard someone refer to this as the Mexican version of the Canadian serial killer duo, Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka.
Yeah.
Which the OG of True Crime can tell us all about.
Yeah. That also came up in my brain as well.
Yeah.
Because it was very similar. Yeah. Carla Homolka also participated in the crimes.
Yep.
A lot of times with the duos, the women don't always participate. They might help the men get the victims, but they don't always participate. But it sounds like Ana Ruíz did participate and Carla Homolka did also participate.
Yes. And Carla, there's video and audio evidence. This one, there's witness accounts and other evidence. But lots of similarities in the cases I felt, and looked like they were both active at the same time, early 90s.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Crazy. That's
it was
nuts.
the 90s.
I don't like it.
But, that Bernardo and Homolka is a famous case.
Famous,
Everybody who has had a taste of true crime has heard of that case. But this one, not so much. And may not be mainstream because of the location of the case and non-white female victims.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, a femicide in Mexico. We talked about it before, but that is part of this case. I just had a thought about femicide in Mexico that, it's not, I think the assumption is, it's just all about drugs, right? And then it's easy to write off these victims of murders, and it's not. There's so many reasons, including just the patriarchal, machismo,
that's what I was going to say, the patriarchy.
Society that, permits, not allows, but violence against women is not always
women
top
are
of the,
less than.
Yes, in the patriarchy.
In the patriarchy.
Yeah, so that has to, just something I wanted to mention. It was a thought that came to my head. And lastly,
I was thinking about that too.
Oh my gosh, great minds, my friend.
We are on a wavelength today.
We really are vibing hard, vibey as fuck. And lastly, rest in power to all of the victims.
Yeah,
and we just hope for healing for the survivor, for the people that knew them, and for the people that cared about the victims in this case.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
Nope.
All right, Beth, where can the people find us?
Our website is fruitloopspod.com, and we use Fruit Loops Pod for all of our social media. The footnotes for each episode can be found on our website. Plus, check it out for the different ways that you can support the show. You can also join us on Patreon, where we have hundreds of hours of bonus content. You can also support us by supporting our sponsors, or by giving us a 5-star review.
5 stars only, please.
Don't forget to subscribe.
That's right. Now, this is a weekly podcast, and episodes drop on Thursdays. So until next time, look alive, y'all. It's crazy out there.
Yeah. These assholes.
Yeah. Quick sip. Oh, what a day. Oh yeah. Okay.
Or what's that? Instagram. Like, what's that Instagram?
Instagram. Tamaulipas. Yeah, you were saying it right.
Tamaulipas. Let me say it one more time. Tamaulipas.
The Mexican-American War and the Mexican Revolution. What do you need, son?
What's that?
Thaddeus, I can't do that right now. No, you can't because you have to go through Lincoln. Please wait until I'm done. Okay? I love you.
45 minutes.
Yep, 45 minutes. Oh, Lord. I forgot where we were. Yeah.
Over the centuries. Let's do that one again. I don't remember where you left off.
Okay. Over the centuries. Ooh-wee. Okay. Hump day is over.
That was a pretty short one.
It was. Yeah. It was.
But it was interesting.
All of the Spanish podcasts I found, it's been a long time since I heard a true crime podcast. It's less than 15 minutes. They were all 10 to 15 minutes
Super
long.
short. Yeah.
Super short. Yeah. So I was like, I didn't look at how many pages, but I was like, I don't know if this is going to
be pretty
the
short.
usual.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean,
wouldn't want to fill it in with erroneous material. Yeah. I'm proud of you, Beth.
I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us. Okay, my dear.
Right.
I got to get going because my kids won't stop.
Kids are kidding.
Kids are kidding. But I'll get this audio on the drive and I will see you on the internet.
All right. Sounds good.
Bye.
Love you too. Bye.